She still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, welcome in everyone to a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 66. Today is October 20th, 2023. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me from the golf capital of the world, my main man, Joey D. Joey, how you doing, kid?
Hanging in there, man. About to hit the road and head towards Colombia for a BKFC 52.
Let's fucking go. How far are you out from Colombia?
Hour and a half.
Oh, that's not too bad. How are weigh-ins? Everyone on weight?
Pretty much, I think throughout both fights we'll be covering today, I think we've only had Victoria due to COVID miss weight. Actually, Mike Breeden as well. So 2 missed weights for the whole weekend. So not too bad.
Oh, yes. I was asking specifically for BKFC, but yeah I saw those. Point. Yeah, I saw those two fighters miss weight. Both fights are still on, though. Fighters accepted it, but 20% purse will be deducted from them. But yeah, big card today. UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi tomorrow. Early start time. Prelims start at 10 a.m. here on the East Coast. Main card starts at 2. We'll recap UFC Vegas 81 last week. Edson Barboza, man, what a fucking performance by him.
Just wonder.
And then before we got some news to talk about, and then BKFC 52, correct, today?
Yep, that's right. In Columbia, South Carolina, Colonial Life Arena.
Let's fucking go, Joe. Let's start in last week. Edson Barboza, man, the grit, the determination to, withstand Sodiq Yusuff in that first round just shows how good he is. Come back, win decisively, I thought. Gets the unanimous decision, gets fight of the night, gets an extra 50,000. Man, this guy doesn't age, man. What a performance by Edson Barboza. What are your thoughts?
You got that right. Exactly what I said. The ageless wonder here with Edson Jr. Barboza, man. He's just giving us timeless classics time and time again, That first round, man, it really was given the trajectory that this was Sodiq's fight. And, I saw it that he would get to the decision. I saw two guys too tough for their own good, being able to take the best of their opponent's shots. And as it turned out, I think what happened with Sodiq, he came out and said that he tore his shoulder after that first round. So I think, regardless of it, he's tough. He stayed in there and fought, but you got to say that definitely came into play. It definitely was a factor. But man, Edson Barboza, he is a force to be reckoned with in that division. You want to make a name for yourself, you got to go through him. And man, it is no easy task. I mean, through the lightweight division, now at featherweight, I mean, he's a stalwart, man. But I still have high expectations for Sodiq Yusuff because he showed me something, to be completely honest. The fact that he was injured and went the distance with a guy who's capable of finishing anyone on the planet at any time, I think speaks volumes about the character and the determination that Sodiq Yusuff has. But once again, nothing taken away from Edson Barboza. He is a true legend of the sport.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he has to be up there in terms of the most underrated fighters of all time. Is that accurate, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we could count timeless moments, captured in time, his flying knees, his wheel kicks, just also the physique, the speed at which he throws his leg kicks. I mean, he's a really fun fighter, a fan favorite. I honestly, I know we've thrown it around, but I honestly think Edson Barboza deserves the Hall of Fame, just because of the longevity, just the talent we've seen from him. And maybe if you want to go and be fickle and say that he himself doesn't deserve it, I'm guaranteeing that there are going to be Hall of Fame moments from Edson Barboza.
Yeah, that was my next question. I'm glad you answered it. 24-11, and just some of the names, like he's 18-11 in the UFC. Knocked out. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Knocked out Billy Quarantino, Sodiq Yusuff. He did lose back-to-back to Giga Jacasey, Bryce Mitchell, but wins against Shane Burgos, Dan Hooker, Benel Dariush, Anthony Pettis, the Iron Dragon, Paul Felder, like Bobby Green, like
Dennis Bermudez, if you don't recall, man, that was back in the day. So
he did obviously lose to Khabib Nurmagomedov. He lost to Justin Gaethje, Kevin Lee as well, Dan Ige, but I think this guy's a UFC Hall of Famer, man. That was going to be my next question. But yeah, spinning it forward now, he did move up 2 spots in that featherweight division. What do you think in a fight between number 11, Edson Barboza, and number 7, Calvin Kattar.
Calvin Kattar, New England Cartel, stand up. I mean, that's a fan favorite fight right there. I like it. It's really up to the UFC and what they decide they want for Edson Barboza because it is the twilight of his career. I do think he has a lot left in the tank, but I don't think you necessarily have to try to get this guy to title contention. I mean, of course, these fighters, that's why they're still fighting. They want to be champions. They believe that they are, the best in the world. But I honestly think you maybe give him exciting fights, kind of not necessarily layups, but just like make Edson put on a show. I mean, he's going to want that. The fans are going to want that. I think it would be a good way to send him out because I think we're getting more of that now. We saw with Robbie Lawler's final fight. That was kind of the way you want these Hall of Famers to go out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be in the business of retiring fighters, but I don't think he's on the tail end of his career, but that's 2 fights in a row now, and I think he has one more legit shot at a title, so we'll see. But yeah, awesome fight between Edson Barboza and Sodiq Yusuff. They get fight of the night. Co-main event, Jennifer Maia got it wrong. I mean, give credit to Viviana Araújo. She just took it to Jennifer Maia the whole 3 rounds. She wins unanimous decision. And Jennifer Maia, she fought out her contract and decided actually not to resign with the UFC. First, thoughts on the fight, and then thoughts on her not resigning with the UFC.
Yeah, that's how I stayed away from it entirely. I figured if I were to back Viviana Araújo, Jennifer Maia would have won. And if I backed Jennifer Maia, Viviana Araújo would have won. And so, I was telling you because you did go with Jennifer Maia, but we saw it coming, man. We knew anytime Viviana Araújo fights, it's going to be the flip. Anytime you back her or fade her, it's going to be the opposite. So just get that into your system. But, man, going forward, Jennifer Maia, murky waters, we don't know necessarily what's going on with Bellator. PFL could probably use some fighters in their division, but they're trying to also promote the featherweight, the 145s. And then, I don't know what necessarily if one has any room for her. So, like I said, she may be heading into murky waters. She may have to fight regionally, maybe some Brazilian promotions. I don't know what's next for Jennifer Maia because honestly, I saw a lot. I had expectations for her. I saw that she may be, getting gearing up for a title shot in the UFC. And the fact that she fought out her contract, didn't come out victorious, and is not resigning has put me kind of in shock, lost for words.
Yeah, she was number 9th. They just flipped spots, her and Viviana. So, I mean, I think she still has some value. She's the 11th ranked flyweight woman in the world in the UFC. So she definitely has some value. I think if Derek Brunson could get a deal, no disrespect to Derek Brunson, but he was another top 15 fighter in the UFC, and he goes out there, kind of gets released, asks for his release, and then signs a nice deal with the PFL, maybe Invicta for Jennifer Maia, but I definitely think there's value on her. She'll definitely get scooped up by a promotion, but yeah, tough loss for her and big win for Viviana Araújo. Cracks the top 10 now in that flyweight division. What a performance by Jonathan Martinez, man. Gets the knockout in the second round. Performance of the night as well, but I want to say Adrian Yanez is a fucking warrior for lasting as long as he did, because those leg kicks were lethal. But yeah, Jonathan Martinez now, kid, I think he's a force to be reckoned with in that bantamweight division.
Sorry, I see that something in my eye, but yeah, I love the Dragon, man. He is what won me this week's league. I'll be honest. We have Joey D Zone for the chat, and that's all due to Jonathan Martinez second round KO TKO. Those leg kicks, man, vicious. They added up, and Adrian Yanez, like you said, tough cookie to be able to go that far, because I mean, it could have got out of there in the first. How vicious those leg kicks were coming in, but not only he, but I'm pretty sure one of his teammates. They guys are some of the nastiest leg kicks going right now. He has the 2 finishes with leg kick TKOs, and his teammate has another one. I think it's just a crazy thing they're doing out there. I don't know if it's an MMA lab or what is it exactly, but man, impressive stuff from Jonathan Martinez. I think he's the future, to be honest with you, because that was something else.
Yeah, he has a lot of interesting matches moving forward. He's now ranked 11th, the bantamweight in the world. Some definitely interesting matches. Maybe a Pedro Munoz, Dominic Cruz. He's still looking for a fight. Song Yadong. It looks like his fight fell through with him. So we'll see. I definitely don't think he's going to be fighting backwards at any point. And Adrian Yanez now dropping 2 in a row. He's sitting at 15. I think he needs a fight outside of the top 15 to get back into the winning mode. And apparently now he's putting more effort into coaching than he is fighting. And I don't think necessarily that's always a good idea when you're kind of in your prime, right?
Well, the only perspective that I could take is that coaching does open up your eyes as a fighter. So you see more like holes in the game. You see more openings. You could think to yourself that like, hey, I'm teaching these positions and these techniques. Maybe I can implement them in my game. So actually, I go on the other end and think that coaching can actually benefit a fighter during their career because they're getting a different perspective altogether.
Yeah. And then the last, not last one, but very quick fight. I didn't think it was going to be this quick. Michel Pereira, performance of the night, knocks out Andre Petrosky a minute and 6 seconds into the first round. I mean, don't blink because I think he's at his natural weight class at middleweight now with Pereira. But short fight, what'd you think of the impressive performance?
Yeah, I don't know how he and Hamza ever made 170 because they're massive guys. And Wonder Boy did nothing wrong denying that fight when he missed weight, to be honest. So yeah, because Pereira is kind of a destroyer in there. The capoeira background, he's so explosive and athletic. I thought Andre Petrosky, I thought coming on short notice that he would have been staying in shape and would have probably toughed it out to the later rounds, but he got caught. That's my worry with Petrosky. Now you're seeing some holes in Daniel Gracie guys coming out of Philadelphia. Seems to be on the feet more. They have great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu, but I think their last two fights they have lost. So let's see that they pick it up. But, man, Michel Pereira, I don't know. He's going to have to fight at 185. A lot is going on at that 185-pound division because, as we know, what's going on this weekend, who's going to get a title shot out of it. So
yeah,
I want to see what's going to be what's going to be made in terms of the matchmaking.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. You got some killers in that top 15 at middleweight. Even at 15, you got Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. You got Andre Munoz at 14. Even Chris Curtis at 13. Then you got Paul Craig at 12. So definitely got a bunch of killers there. Yeah, I didn't like the comments he made after the fact. Respect that he came out with the Israel flag, but I don't like him saying to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, "Oh, he's a bitch for not accepting the fight." No, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's not. I don't think you're in a position to negotiate like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is in his stage of his career. He doesn't have to do anything. He's fought and he's always made weight. You're in no position to negotiate when you missed weight. He gave you an opportunity and you missed it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he said all that, and I think he backtracked because at the end he was like, Stephen Thompson was within his right to do so, so he kind of like understood where he messed up. So I think he came full circle at Michel Pereira. But if he said that, it's like he shouldn't have said anything to begin with. But I guess when you're talking to the media, you kind of got to explain your position. So
yeah,
I think he did that all right.
Fumble on your words.
Yeah, and I think he did a right explanation. I honestly do. And I don't think he necessarily disrespected Wonderboy all too much. He wanted that fight. And I was going to get him moved up a lot if he fought Wonderboy there and came out victorious. So I think that's eating at him a bit, but he's never going to be fighting at 170 again. So he's got to let it go.
Yeah, 100%. Let it go. You found your new home at middleweight. So credit him. Big win. Gets the job done in a minute.
Good call on C-Rod.
Yeah, C-Rod gets the unanimous decision. A lot of people thought it was supposed to be split. Honestly, Joe, I'm not biased to the side. I didn't think it was close. I thought C-Rod kind of dominated.
He
Cameron
dominated
Simon.
Those positions, man. He definitely did.
Cameron Simon, no disrespect, I think he'll be a top 15 in that bantamweight division, but C-Rod is just another level. So I was on the right call. What did you see from C-Rod?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, dominated all the positions. I think he had the advantage with the grappling. I thought if Saman could keep it on the feet, that he would have, a little crisper boxing, striking all together, mix it up well. But once he got it going, man, Christian Rodriguez never let it up, and he just put the pressure on him and kind of broke Cameron Simon. If you saw it, I think as you got into the third round and he was not able to get out of those bad positions, I think Saman broke a little bit. Yeah. But like you said, the future's bright for the 20-year-old. I think he's 22, right? Or something along those lines. Very young.
Young 20s.
And he has a lot to go. I think that's good. Unfortunately, we want to see undefeated fighters, people not lose, but you learn more from losses than you do wins. And so I think Saman could improve from this loss.
100%. I mean, first loss in the UFC, nothing to hang your head about. C-Rod's a legit fighter. And like you said, you learn a lot from your losses. So hopefully the South African can bounce back. I do think the future is bright for him. I just thought it was a bad spot for him against C-Rod. But the guy who fucked my parlay, TJ Brown. I got to stop betting against him, Bryce Mitchell, these Arkansas boys, man. The damage, Darren Elkins, man. This fucking guy gets the submission in the 3rd round. He's a legend. I can't not bet against Darren Elkins anymore. What'd you think of the bet?
Another ageless wonder there, man. I mean, he keeps doing it as he gets. I think he's getting better as he gets older. It's like he's going. He didn't have a 20-year-old, 30-year-old prime. Darren Elkins is the type of guy to have a 40-year-old prime. So, I mean, the damage, it speaks for itself. I had a hedge that because that's exactly what I was worried about. I think Downtown Brown was like, in terms of looking at their primes and their athleticism, thinking that he's a more athletic fighter, more, in his age. But Darren totally turned it around. He was the more in shape. He was the, more driven fighter. And that's how he got to that finish, because he could have won on decision, but he want that finish, and he's a dog for it, and he got it. And my suggestion of the hedge, the 3rd round win to the decision for Elkins, was very sharp bet there.
Yeah, Darren, you knew he was up on the scorecards, but you saw it in his eyes entering the 3rd. He wanted that finish because he knew he was dominating TJ Brown. So, yeah, big win for the damage. Fuck my parlay up. But
bunch of decisions I'm seeing here.
Yeah, a bunch of decisions. One that wasn't a decision. First round knockout, 20 seconds, T-Rex.
I tweeted, how quick is this going to be? I swear I tweeted it, looked up, and I was like, well, that was quick.
Yeah, and it was over. So, yeah, big win again for Terrence McKinney. I think it's his 4th or 5th fight this year. So,
I think we're going to see him come December.
Wow. So, if he turns it around,
next fight in December, I really do.
Another big win for Chris Gutierrez in that bantamweight division. Now he moves up to 14th in the rankings in that bantamweight division. So we had a lot of good fights. Ultimately, I was 3-2 on the night. I missed on my parlay, but I hit on the main event. I got Edson Barboza on a plus 150. I lose on Jennifer Maia. Jonathan Martinez, I get the straight, and then C-Rod, I get the straight. So 3-2 on the night, a profitable night nonetheless. Joe, how did you do?
Yeah, I was off a little bit. I'll be honest, before I give you my record, did you see, the first fight of the night? Did you see Ashley Yoder's cuts, man? Emily Dakota.
Oh my God.
She butchers people, man. So you got to always look at Emily Dakota moving forward. But yeah, those eyes cuts were vicious. I had to make a post about it. But for the weekend, I went 3-6. I was in the red. But like I said, I did win the verdict league for our chat. So it is Joey D's zone, and I'm hoping to repeat this week for UFC 294.
Yeah, and then we'll touch on it real quick. Misfit Boxing, to be honest, you should know what you're getting yourself into when watching these fights, as a disclaimer. I will say, Logan Paul, out of the 4 fighters in the co-main and main event, I thought Logan actually fought the best and most, and actually better technical than any of the 4 fighters. We'll start there with Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis, and then I'll get your thoughts real quick. All the antics and all the showboating aside, I thought Dylan Dennis's game plan early on was the right one. Maybe tire him out, then unload in rounds 4 and 5 and whatnot. But I think in the end of round 2, when Logan had that fury and he kind of felt his power, he just disengaged. He did not want to throw. He did not want to do anything, basically. And he thought he was just going to tire him out. Logan actually looked really in shape as well. Dylan just didn't want to do anything. And at that point, he just wanted his Nate Diaz moment and say, hey, you never knocked me out. Tried to pull guillotine. But to be honest, real quick, why? And I think Dylan Dennis has a valid argument. Why the hell is the security guard stepping in the ring in rounds 5 and 6? Security guard, this is a fight.
It's a clown show. It's a
clown show.
Yeah, and, I get you showing like respect to Logan, but I'll be honest, at the end of the day, we all lose as fans, and both of them are losers, because outside of the ring, Logan is a complete loser, and inside the ring, Dylan was a complete loser. So at the end of the day, we lose as fans and they lose as humans, because at the end of the day, it was a clown show. It was a joke.
Yeah, no, it was honestly, it was better than the main event, I'll say, because
I mean,
every 5 seconds they clinched.
Yeah, it's what carried the show. The fight was a little more entertaining. You got some meme-worthy events from the co-main event, but I just, going even to the main event, it was a joke. It really was. I think, yeah, they hugged the whole time. Tommy Fury should have won. I thought the judges were going to fix it in KSI's favor just to keep the clown show going. But I mean, if we all come to our senses, we should just never watch this again, to be honest with you.
Well, that's going to my first point. Like, you should know what you're getting yourself into while watching this. Like, honestly, Salt Poppy and Slim was the best fight on the card.
No, honestly, it was Waleed Sharks and Dean the Great. That was the best fight in the card.
And
that was the best fight.
I think in the main event, like, honestly, I did think Tommy won. I thought KSI won the first 2 rounds, and then I thought Tommy edged it out. But I don't think it's a robbery. We're throwing the R word around a little too loosely, in my opinion.
I think the point deduction is the only thing that could maybe get it to a draw on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah,
and also
maybe.
Heard that they announced it a draw, and it actually wasn't. It was a 57-56 card. So actually, it was unanimously in favor of Tommy Fury. So
yeah, which I don't think is too far
It's
off.
a joke, and I'm glad we covered it. And you're right. I think the way to address it is you got to know what you're getting yourself into. We decided to talk about it. We wanted to make you guys money because we felt like it was the popular thing to do. But if we came down to our, hardcore fanship, we'd absolutely despise it. So we were just trying to cater to the event.
I just think the next fight to make, I know they want to run it back. KSI said he wants to run it back, but the fight to make is KSI and Jake Paul. Like that's the fight to make. I know he wants his rematch with Tommy. Jake wants to run it back with Nate Diaz in December. Nate's calling him out to run it back.
Let's make it entertaining. I'm tired of all these decisions and draws. Like, can we just get people getting knocked out? Like,
it was actually more entertaining when Jake Paul was knocking out Tyron Woodley. Like, I actually was like, okay, at least he's knocking these guys out. Yeah. But yeah,
I digress.
Absolutely.
And I went 1-1 for it, but
it's like our boy The Rock says, it doesn't matter.
What you think?
Joe, before we get to huge car in Abu Dhabi, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing a round of golf with the boys, or an elderberry on a Saturday afternoon watching UFC 294, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi. We got special start time here on the East Coast. Prelims start at 10 a.m., so set your alarms. Main card starts at 2. Joe, take us away. What do you got?
All right, and it'll start us up with the debut of Shara Bullet Magomedov taking on Bruno Silva. Exciting matchup. Both guys, I think, are capable of finishing either one. And I'm a little worried to start it off. I had to put a play in here, and it's going to be the first play of a parlay I have for y'all. So I got a straight up for the debuting Sarah Butin Magomedov. I got him at a straight up -200 earlier this week. And like I said, he's going to be the first instance of Abu Dhabi's parlay I have for you this week. So that's my first play. Let's get into the next fight. I have Jinh Yu Frey making her return. I think she fought earlier this year. She's taking on who missed the weight, Victoria Dudikova, undefeated Russian fighter. I think the world of her. I think she's super talented. And the only issue I see here is that if she does miss weight again, I think she's going to have to make a new weight class at home. But she's too talented to lose this fight. I got to take Victoria Dudikova. She is another part of the parlay, but straight up, she's -345. So right now it's trending towards -500. So she is a huge favorite. Money going to her favorite. Jinh Yu Frey +400 dog. I should stay away from Jinh Yu Frey. She has not been friendly towards bettors. Let's go into the next fight. And this is the fight that I don't have part of any parlay. And it is by itself. It is my lone dog of the card. I got Nathaniel Wood taking on Muhammad Naimov, and Tajikistan is going to be standing up early. Give me the dog, Muhammad Naimov, plus 275. He's the only underdog I have on this card, and he's by himself. I think I saw him last time get to finish against Jamie Mullarkey. Regardless of what you think of the level with Nathaniel Wood, I think it might be a little quick turnaround for Nathaniel Wood. He got beat up a little bit in his last fight. He looked good, but he got checked a couple times. If he doesn't address the grappling early, I think it could be a long night for him. So I got to go with what would kind of be home field advantage too. No, Muhammad Naimov, our early dog, plus 275.
Oh, going against Natty Wood, huh?
Yeah, man. I was expecting you to come in there and be like, I got to take Wood on there, but hey,
I do lean Natty Wood. I think he's a dog.
Yeah,
and I don't necessarily
he's super
think
talented.
I don't think necessarily it's that big of a turnaround, but we'll see.
No.
He's definitely going to be in a dogfight. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you that. Absolutely. And so I'm excited for the return of India's own. I think the Maharaja of MMA, Ansu Jubli's taking on Mike Breeden, who also missed weight. He's forfeiting 30% of his purse. I got to fade the guy who missed weight in this situation because he did look a little sloppy. And Ansu Jubli, I think, is the truth, man. He is India's hope. So give me Ansu Jubli minus 345 straight up. He has another leg on that parlay. So I'll take us right to the next fight. I have Cedricus Dumas taking on Abu Azaitar. And I've seen, different sides on this one. A lot of people like fading Dumas, but he's shown up the past couple of fights. And I think the books have this right. He's a favorite here. Right now, it's trending towards a minus 240. Abu Azaitar is like a $2 dog. But I got to go and take Cedricus here. I got him earlier this week at a minus 165. He's going to be straight up there, but he's not part of the Abu Dhabi parlay. He is the first leg of my USA parlay. It's a two-leg parlay there. So I got two parlays going for you. I'll explain it all as we get to the end.
Real quick, Joe. Yeah, I was going to take Dumas as well. He's looked a little better in his last fight. And Azutar has fought 2 times in 7 years. There's no way you could take that guy.
Rough. So let's go into the next fight here. And I think, honestly, for y'all who aren't familiar with Victor Henry, trained by War Master Josh Barnett, dude, super game. Javid Bashara is the truth. I think he is, a force up and coming. And he is a minus 450 favorite. If I look at it now, he's trending towards minus 600. Victor Henry, big dog, about a $4 dog. As much as I like Victor Henry, my prediction for this fight is that is going to be fight of the night, because of how much Victor Henry is a dog. But Javid Basharat, I got to take him. I think he'll find a way to win. He's minus 450, and he is also a leg on the Abu Dhabi parlay. So let's go into what would be the co-main event of the prelims. We got Muhammad Yahya taking on Trevor Peek. And, I mean, you said it before, man. You can't be fading these USA boys. Trevor Peek's going to complete my 2-leg USA parlay with Cedricus Dumas and himself. Trevor Peek straight up is minus 130 when I got him, but put them together for the USA's 2-leg parlay of plus 185. Got Trevor Peek and Cedricus Dumas on that.
I love it.
And
I also, real quick, I don't like, I know you're on Trevor Peek, but did not look good against our boy.
No. Chet Mariscal, and Machine Gun Mariscal is actually a game fighter. That's the thing. I looked at tape Muhammad Yahya. He's going to have to find a way to get this to the ground, but Trevor Peek has some good takedown defense. I didn't like what I saw on the feed from Yahya. So if it comes to just be a slugfest, Trevor Peek's going to find a way to get out of there.
Yeah, it might be a good bounce back spot for him.
Absolutely. Let's go into the featured prelim, and I got Tim Elliott taking on Muhammad Makhachev. Tim Elliott looking about a $3 dog, trending towards a $4 dog. Muhammad Makhachev, huge favorite here. Dylan, I'll let you take it away. What you got for this featured prelim?
Yeah, Muhammad Makhachev, 10-0, 4-0 in the UFC. I think this line is a little ridiculous, though. I think Makhachev, he has some things to work out before making him this big of a favorite. Tim Elliott is no joke, man. He's a very slippery fighter. He can scrap. He's fought with the best of them. He has good wrestling. And if he comes into this fight in shape like I think he will, I think he has a chance against Makhachev, who predominantly wants to take this fight to the ground. Elliott, he's been in the octagon with Mighty Mouse and all the best of them. His life is kind of turned upside down, but after that, he won his last fight, and you're only as good as your last fight. He's dedicated his whole life to fighting, and when you hang a plus 360, I gotta take the Mississippi mudslide. Give me Timmy Elliott here, straight up plus 360.
I love it, man. I was very tempted on him because you see the pedigree, you see the resume, who he's competed with, how he's lost. He doesn't really lose all too decisively. He is a tough game guy. But I just think Makhachev is the truth. I really think he's the future champ of the division, possibly the best grappler in that division. And I think if he can grind out Tim Elliott, that says something because Tim Elliott himself is a grinder. So I got to take the big favorite, Makhachev, that home field advantage. I know he's representing Great Britain, but I got high expectations for Makhachev. I'm looking forward a little bit here. Might be overlooking Tim Elliott, so I might get caught, but we're on different sides. He is another leg of the parlay, but Muhammad Makhachev straight up minus 450 is the play for me. So I'm glad we got that out for the prelims. I'm glad we're on different sides. May the best man win, D-Rock. And we'll take us right into UFC 294's main card. And D, I heard you're touching every single fight of this main card, and it's an exciting one at that. Gearing us up for the rest of the year. I mean, let's go right into it. Saeed Nurmagomedov, you know the Nurmagomedov name. He's got to make an appearance here. After dropping his last fight against Jonathan the Dragon Martinez, we've seen the level of Jonathan Martinez. I think, going to decision with him, I think Saeed's learned a lot. I think he's faced his demons. I think he's faced his losses like a man. And I think he's going to get back there and, try to prove a point. Moon Gafrov, another Tajikistan, super tough guy. But we saw him lose his last fight. I think it wasn't all that good of a performance, to be honest. I forgot who exactly he fought. But it wasn't that high of a competition. If you're going up against a Nurmagomedov, you better bring it. I'm just concerned on that. So I got to take the favorite, the $2 favorite, Saeed Nurmagomedov. He is also another leg of the Abu Dhabi's parlay.
How long is this parlay? We're up to like 5-6 guys.
I got a 10-leg Abu Dhabi parlay for you guys. It's all favorites. Yeah. That's why. No values coming out of them.
Oh, what could go wrong? All favorites. Yeah, pretty good run so far in the UFC for Saeed Nurmagomedov. 6-2 in the UFC, coming off that loss, like you said, to Jonathan Martinez. That's kind of aging well. But to be honest, I thought he won that fight. He outstruck him. He had more takedowns as well. So kind of an interesting call that Jonathan Martinez won. But you mentioned it, Gamrot, 0-2 in the UFC. He's a good grappler, but he doesn't do much with it when he gets him down. I think Saeed is a stud. He has good striking. He has good chokes as well. I think people are sleeping on him. I like him big. I think he gets the finish here, maybe KO or submission. So give me Saeed Nurmagomedov via inside the distance at plus 165.
Awesome. You've seen Gafrov. He hasn't gotten finishes last two fights, and I just think he's tough. I think he could go to decision. I just think that Saeed would have a dominant one if it does. He would definitely show off his skills, showcase. Let's go into the next fight. Ikram Aliskerov, man, he's making a return here against returning Warlley Alves. You mentioned about some fighters back in the day, not fighting so often. And I get concerned about that. The odds here, Warlley Alves trending towards like a $5 dog about, and Ikram is about a $5 favorite, trending towards a $6. When I got him, it was early in the week. It was about a minus 450. Ikram Aliskerov was a part of the Abu Dhabi parlay. I just get worried with the Warlley Alves and the way he's got chinned in his outs before. The same can't be said for the way I'm going to address the next fight, because though he's sat a little bit, I got to think that he's been training and he hasn't been chinned like that. So that's why I got Ikram Aliskerov as another leg of the Abu Dhabi parlay.
Yeah, a lot of people are high on this Akram kid, man. But don't sleep on Alves. He could be a spoiler. He played spoiler against Colby Covington and choked him out in the first round. But Ikram is a stud. His only loss is to Chimaev. And people were wondering why he was getting the Paulo Costa fight earlier in the year. And the reason is because the kid's the real deal and the UFC knows it. But now he gets Alves, who... his better days are kind of past him. He has power, but cardio is usually an issue for him. Now taking this fight against Ikram on short notice seems like it's going to be a problem. Give me Ikram by finish. I think he puts him away. So I'll take Ikram via KO TKO at plus 150.
Wow. Awesome. Let's get into the next fight. I think one of the more interesting fights on the card. I'm a huge Johnny Walker guy right now. The odds are itching, man. They're calling my name. He's about a $3 dog right now. I see plus 285. Magomed is about a $4 dog right now. It's about minus 375. when I got him earlier in the week, Magomed Ankalaev minus 340. I got to take the favor here, the home field advantage. Like I said, I know he hasn't fought all too recently like Johnny Walker has fought this year, but I think he had addressed the loss or the draw to Jan Blachowicz. I think his style also clashes with what Johnny Walker wants to do. I just think that this crowd, this home field advantage is going to play a huge factor here. And I like the skills of Magomed Ankalaev. So the same situation as I saw the featured prelim with how game their opponents are, I got to look forward a little bit and think that Ankalaev is a guy who's going to compete for the title after what happens between Alex and Jiri. That's just my opinion. I really think that he's next in line, especially if he gets past Johnny Walker. Same can be said for Muhammad Makhachev. So I got to go with that. I got to go with some future headlines and how I'm seeing these fights play out.
Is he another piece of your parlay?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, I know everyone can't wait for the co-main and the main event, but this is my favorite fight on the card. I think it's going to be people's main event. I think it might get fight of the night. Well, just basically what my reason is because it's one of my favorite fighters on the entire UFC roster, Magomed Ankalaev. He's returning for the first time since that draw against Jan Blachowicz. Johnny Walker, though, on the other side, he's won 3 in a row. He's got married, switched his camp over to Ireland, kind of changed his whole dynamic. We saw him live last in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina, got the win against Anthony Smith, but I feel like the 205 division is wide open, and I honestly didn't really like that after his last fight, Dana said, fuck it, we're going to put Glover and Jamil Hill in Brazil in January, but, you know, it wasn't the best fight of the world by any means, but I did think Ankalaev proved a lot to me in that fight. He got his leg kicked off basically and turned that fight around, and he should have got his hand raised. You know, that shows heart, grit, and not a lot of fighters could do that or withstand it. Look at Adrian Yanez, like we just mentioned. People just eventually go down. So that shows heart, I think. I think he needs to come into this fight and show the UFC something. I think he needs a dominant performance because he has had 2 dud performances. I think he needs to come out here and finish Johnny Walker if he wants to be considered in that title picture with Yuri, Jamal Hill. So I think Johnny Walker, he kind of has a little bit of a chin problem, but if you do like him, I would take him first round here because he does have first round knockout ability. But I got to go with my boy here. I think Magomed Ankalaev steamrolls him here. I think he finishes Johnny Walker and then gets his title shot. Give me Magomed Ankalaev via inside the distance at minus 115.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff. And yeah, I'm excited for that one too. You know, I'm a little torn. You know how big of a Johnny Walker guy I am. You know, I've been following him since day one, since he came over. And me fading him in a spot, I think it's the first time that I've faded Johnny Walker in his career for the UFC. Let's go into the co-main event. And, man, these last-minute replaces, I got to be honest, I think they're a little better. I do. I got to say that these fights are actually more interesting to me, and I'm actually more hyped for UFC 294 than I was before. And Kamaru Usman taking this short-notice fight is so interesting to me, fighting at a higher weight class. I mean, it has all the makings to think that he's going to come in and shock the world. But we got to think who he's fighting here. I mean, he's fighting Khamzat Chimaev, bro. I mean, I get it. Yeah, 155er, Gilbert Burns. He wanted to play that game. I mean, we're not thinking about what he totally ignored his coaches. You remember the corner? His screaming at Khamzat to wrestle, and he just wouldn't listen to his coaches. He did that on purpose to fight Gilbert Burns. I don't think he does that here. I really think Khamzat's going to do everything he can in the world to win and eviscerate Kamaru Usman. I like Kamaru Usman. The Nigerian Nightman, Christian Aoki, they got that namesake, man. You can never sleep on these guys. But he very well be sleeping within one round. So I got Khamzat Chimaev as another leg of my parlay, minus 250. And he is one of my only 2 props I have for the evening. Khamzat Chimaev, round 1 win at plus 200.
Yeah, I guess I would disagree on the fact that I would rather see Paulo Costa and Khamzat instead of Kamaru Usman, to be honest. That I just been dying. I think it'd be a more fun of a fight than Kamaru Usman taking on Chimaev. But yeah, I definitely think this is Khamzat's toughest fight to date. I think this is a good test for everyone and for the UFC to see what, they really have in Chimaev. Honestly, I don't think we'll see too much wrestling in this fight. I think it will stay predominantly on the feet. I think that gives the advantage to Chimaev. I think where Usman has the edge is with his jab, trying to keep Chimaev on the outside, prevent him from moving forward. But I think the pathway to victory for Usman, he has to make this fight ugly, take it to all 3 rounds, and hopefully did enough to win on the scorecards. But on short notice, I just don't have the confidence in him. And looking at this fight and being like, yeah, Usman's going to win. The number is very enticing, I'll say that. But Usman's one advantage usually in fights is his conditioning. And I just don't think at this stage, on a little over a week's notice, I don't think he'll be ready to win this fight. I also think Chimaev early on will be very dangerous and maybe overwhelm Usman with big shots. And we've seen Usman get rocked before. So with all that, I do like Khamzat Chimaev here big. I think he does get the finish. Chimaev via inside the distance is going to be the play for me at -135.
Great, man. I get worried, the knees, the mental. He got knocked out before. He's defeated from Rocky Edwards, who was a way smaller dude than Khamzat. I just hope we don't see Kamaru really get hurt in there. That's my concern, because I really think Khamzat is like a killer. I really do. I think if there was no ref in there, I think he would kill Kamaru Usman. So let's go into the main event. Islam Makhachev, he's taking on Alexander Volkanovski. And man, a lot of people were taken aback by my prediction here. Alexander stepping on the short notice. He's a $2 dog. I think a lot of people see that. They get excited. They want to take him. But I go to this, man. He's coming off elbow surgery. He wanted to take this fight if he was ready. Yeah. I just don't think that you'd necessarily recover from that all too well. Yeah, you're training, you're doing this, not till you get in there. And I think it's all coming in a factor as well. He was on the cover. So I believe in the cover curse. I think that it's just a recipe for disaster, him stepping on short notice here. I really do. I think he's thinking that it's all fine and dandy. And, this back and forth, I just see my other prop hitting here. I really think Islam's going to get him out of there in the first round. So I got Islam as my final leg of my 10-leg Abu Dhabi parlay, which will give you odds of plus 1,700, everything that I mentioned. And then, of course, the second prop and my final prop of the evening is Islam round 1 win at plus 600. I think he knocks him out, gets him on the ground, and decides whether or not choke him or TKO him.
Yeah, this is an unbelievable fight. I think something we weren't able to see in the first fight was kind of the striking of Volkanovski, because, he probably concentrated heavily on the wrestling and the ground game. It kind of looked like he was forcing some things in the first fight. And I just don't think we saw the elite striking capability of Volkanovski that we've come to see. So I think we're going to see a much different Volkanovski in this fight, where I think he's going to let his hands go a little more around this time. I think Volk can do a good job stuffing some takedowns. He did it last fight. Also getting back to his feet. He was good in his positions as well. I think in this fight, he's going to have to do a lot more striking this time. And I love what he said this week on his podcast or one of his YouTube videos. He said, if there's anyone that could do it on and win on short notice, it's him. I love that. I love the attitude. And that's the type of attitude you need to win this type of fight. Now, a lot of people thought he won the first fight. I don't. Islam won that 4 rounds to 1. I think he's going to need to fight a near perfect fight to win, because Islam Makhachev does not make many mistakes in the octagon. But I think he could do it. And if that happens, the UFC world is going to explode. But give me Alexander the Great to shock the world. I think he hurts Makhachev, and I think he wins a decision fight. I disagree in your assessment saying he's going to get him out in the first round. Nothing in that first fight really showed me that he could do that. Should be a close fight, but give me and new double champ Alexander Volkanovski.
Hey, I got a mythical fighter, Islam Makhachev, in Abu Dhabi. That's the difference. It's not in Australia, bro. But hey, that does it for UFC 294. I love your take there, man. I'll be honest. It's always tempting to go on the side, but may the best man win. I'll go over what I have real quick, because I had a lot, but underdog for the day is the single. It's Muhammad Namaev. At plus 275. My props are only 2 of them. I have Islam and Khamzat with round 1 wins. Islam is plus 600. Khamzat's plus 200. Then I have my USA 2-leg parlay for plus 185. That's between Dumas and Peak. And then my Abu Dhabi 10-leg parlay is plus 1,700. And that starts with the first fight of the evening and ends with the main event.
Yeah, so only 5 official plays because you have the 2 parlays that include basically everyone, but 2 props and then an underdog as well. So, Joe, good luck. Should be an amazing card. Very
Yeah.
top heavy, I will say, but should be a very good
I love
card.
that we wake
And
up the fights. Every
yeah,
time we wake up the fights,
yeah.
it's fantastic.
Little news before we get out of here. Nasrat Hakbras, he will now take on Jamie Malarkey, UFC at the Apex December 9th. You like that fight for Jamie Malarkey?
Yeah, I think Jamie Malarkey, he I mentioned he lost that one fight to not Gafrov, to Naimov, and then I think his last outing he actually won, right, Malarkey?
Yeah.
So I think he's riding a win. Nasrat Hakparas is riding a win. That should be an interesting matchup. I'm excited for that one, low key. I think those are the type of fights that get mentioned and they get swept under the rug a little bit, but man, they turn out to be bangers.
Yeah, new UFC signing in the strawweight champion division for the girls. Matrix Fight Night champion Pooja Tomar. She is 8-4. She will be the first ever Indian woman to fight in the UFC. 1, have you heard of her? And 2, what do you think she could do in that strawweight division?
Oh, I mean, I know that a lot of fighters coming from India actually tend to have good wrestling. I think the striking department's a little behind, but we'll see that with Ansel Jubli, his striking, how that's not the same. But man, I like it. I know Ritu Phogat in 1 is an Indian wrestler. She's a fantastic fighter at that. But you don't see many often, and like you said, she's the first one in the UFC. So I'm excited for the billion strong in India to have someone represent them.
Yeah, definitely. Should be very interesting. And she's a former champion in another organization, so I think she could come here and make some noise. So love to add a little depth in that strawweight division. Like USADA will finish out its contract throughout the end of the year. But on its way out, let's go and suspend some fighters. Mano Bueno Silva, her submission over Holly Holmes back in July has been overturned to a no contest. The Nevada State Athletic Commission has also suspended Bruna Silva for 4.5 months, ends around late November. Fined her 50% of her purse after she failed a drug test. D-Rod, he's just been suspended for 6 months by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for a positive drug test. That ban will end sometime in January. And then the Nevada Athletic Commission has suspended our boy Wilt Harris for a year. And that will end June 2024. So, Joe, Nevada Athletic State Commission, they're out here suspending guys. What do you think?
They violated my man, the big ticket, bro. You can't do that to Walt Harris. Come on, yo, chill. But honestly, Holly Holm main event, that's what I got from the Myra Bueno Silva suspension. And then D-Rod, people were clowning on him. Like I said, you can't talk about that man's fucking body. He's got hands, fool.
Yeah, thankfully we were able to see him in his last fight in Charlotte, but yeah, I thought the big ticket one was a little egregious. Maybe 4 or 6 months, but a year that's a little egregious, I thought. But you mentioned in the main event with Volkanovski him maybe turning it around too quick off a hand surgery. What about Brian Boom Boom Keller? Getting neck surgery, coming back in 3 months against Cody Garbrandt at UFC 296. This guy's a fucking maniac.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stud for that, man. I just worry, the neck is nothing to play with. And I think Cody Garbrandt's out for blood, man. So I'm thinking another highlight reel KO for no love.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think we might be on opposite sides. I gotta go with my man.
I love it.
And then he's probably gonna go freestyle in the octagon. Another UFC 296 banger. Giga Jacasey will take on Josh Emmett. What are your thoughts on that fight?
He's got to stay away from the power. Josh Emmett, I think he's always going to be there, ready to knock someone out, and he's capable of doing it. So I think Giga's game plan is going to be to keep the distance, keep on the outside, utilize his leg kicks. Maybe try to use that Giga kick again. We haven't seen it the last couple times out. Maybe try to isolate the body or something, some teep kicks to keep him at bay. I think if Josh Emmett closes distance or if he utilizes some wrestling, I think it could turn out to be a long night for Giga.
I worry about Josh Emmett. He's getting up there in age. He's taking a lot of damage. And I think if Giga Jacasey puts on a clinic on him, I don't know if that's going to be ultimately a good fight. Benel Dariush, he's trying to turn things around after getting knocked out by Charlie Olives. He will take on Arman Sarukian, UFC Austin, December 2nd. Co-main, not the main event, co-main. What are your thoughts on this fight for
Interesting.
Benel?
You know what? I heard that. I'm not mad at it. I like the Bobby Green Dan Hooker main event. I don't care. I'm a fan of it. But honestly, I think it makes for an exciting matchup. I think you would have thought that it would have been the main event, but putting it at the co-main event, I think you have more eyes. With this, some fights coming in early at the prelims, I think the goal is to get eyes onto the event. I know people were concerned or curious why they were getting the debut of Sarah Bullock as the first fight of the evening. I think you're going to want to tune in at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I think that's the goal.
Yeah, not confirmed, but it is in the works. I do think Bobby Green will get that fight with Dan Hooker, so should be a barn burner. Yeah, and I don't mind that being the main event. And then lastly, I love this fucking fight. UFC 297, first pay-per-view in January. Probably going to be in Toronto. But my boy Neil Magny taking on Mike Malott. What a banger this is. What are your thoughts here? Can my boy Neil Magny get it done?
Hey, Mike Malott's also your boy too, man. A chance to prove himself here against a gatekeeper, a guy who is a tough out, a guy who barely gets finished. I mean, he went the distance when he had absolutely no legs under him. Neil Magny is one of the toughest dudes there is. So it's going to be a test to see if he can get him out of there, to be honest. I think that's what he's going to need to do to actually prove a point. He needs to get Neil Magny out of there.
Yeah, Neil Magny right now is the number 14th ranked fighter in that welterweight division. So a little step up from competition and maybe could crack the top 15 for the Canadian. And then lastly, we got a banger. You're going to BKFC 52. We might go, hey, hit your brother up. We might go to BKFC 56 in Salt Lake City, December 2nd. Platinum Mike Perry will take on the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez.
That's a banger, bro.
Joe, I mean, everyone is high on, and so am I. I think he resurrected his career in BKFC. I think he's the face. But these aren't the fights that Eddie Alvarez loses. He loses to swifty, fast fighters. And if you want to stand and bang with the Underground King, you're going to end up underground. Give me Eddie Alvarez. I think he's going to knock Mike Perry out.
Wow, I love it. I got to go with Mike Perry. Like you said, the face of bare knuckle boxing. And I think the way that he's approached fighting in bare knuckle has completely changed who he is. So I think tall task for Eddie Alvarez, the age that he's in, and going against a bigger guy. Mike Perry is a lot bigger than he was. He's fighting his type of game. But yeah, like you said, Eddie Alvarez, the Underground King, he's a dog and he's always going to be in it. I think, honestly, man, fight of the year right there. Yeah. Not going to lie. Fight of the year.
Literally. Fight will be at 185. Eddie hasn't made 155 in years, he said. So going up a little weight, I think it's going to be a banger. They did agree. They said, hey, if one of our teeth get knocked out, we got to spit it at one another and we'll have a beer afterwards. So a lot of mutual respect. But yeah, no, this is going to be a banger of a fight.
Can't wait, man.
Hopefully he lasts a little longer than my boy Luke Rockhold. But Joe, that's going to do it for the news. Let's just go right into BKFC 52 for your fights. You will be there live in Columbia, South Carolina. Take us away.
Yes, sir. And last week, I went 2-0 for the Prospect Series. So let's continue that for BKFC 52. And I'll start, surprisingly enough, in the main event. Reggie Barnett's taking on Keith Richardson. I got to take the champ. Educated hands, Reggie Barnett. Yeah, Keith Richardson is an ex-Marine, but at minus 130, I think the books have it right. Give me Reggie, educated hands. Antonio Soto III takes on Kevin Kroom. Man, I'm going full heel this weekend. I faded Tim Elliott. I'm taking the cheater. Kevin Kroom with the upset plus 220. Full heel turn. Let's go into the fights that are going to be in that main event. And local Brandon Bouchard is taking out Josh Mayer. I'm going Brandon Bouchard. He's the dream killer. He's also the bone saw. You're going nowhere. Minus 305. I think he gets it done. And I'm ending with my boy Jeremiah the Prophet Scott taking on Chevy Bridges. He is a minus 300 favorite for a reason. He looks ready. He's on weight. I think it's a great day to knock someone's head off because it's Jeremiah Scott's birthday today. So happy birthday. He's fighting tonight, Colonial Rifle Arena, and I'll be there live. Let's get it done.
Let's go, Joe. Hey, we got to see pictures, got to see some videos. Get there safe. Be safe. I heard some tricky things out there in Columbia, South Carolina, but be safe. Have a good time and good luck this weekend. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, I am D-Rock. We'll see you guys next week. Plenty of picks, plenty of hot takes. So please follow along our social media, X and Instagram, at Axe Kick Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Friday afternoon around 1, maybe a little after 1 on YouTube, youtube.com/Axe Kick Picks live. Subscribe, rate, give us a review. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. But be a friend, tell a friend. Everyone, good luck on your wagers this weekend. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you guys down the road. Peace.